A lot of new people in the stock market, y'all must think something sweet. There's nothing sweet about the stock market, y'all. So it's not all about gains and making money, right? These stocks will turn on you. They're going to go up, they're going to go down, they're going to go up, they're going to go down. And I'm about to explain exactly what happens when they go up and down. All right. So a lot of y'all just start following me. Y'all seeing that, like, I make money in the stock market. I teach people about the stock market. So this is a part of the stock market. And if you can't understand this, you can't grasp the fact that you might lose some money or the value of your account will go down, get your ass out the stock market, right? Go put your money in the savings account and just hide under a rock. The best analogy I ever heard, I think, Warren Buffett. I think this came from Warren Buffett. So check this out. Imagine you buy a house for $200,000, right? So you pay $200,000 for this house. This dude, Mr. Market, he comes around and he tells you every month how much your house is worth, right? So you bought it in January, $200,000. In February, he comes and says, yo, this house is worth $185,000. You didn't lose $15,000 just because he told you your house is worth $185,000. Now, if you sell this house to him, you actually make a deal with him and you sell it to him, yes, you lost $15,000. But this just means the value is down $15K. You didn't lose $15K because you still own this asset. Does that make sense? If you make a deal with him, you lost $15K. If you don't, you just say, oh, thanks for telling me, bro. Then the value is down $15,000, but you didn't lose any money, right? So you buy this house for $200K because you think it's worth $300,000. In February, he says, yo, this is worth 185. And then March, 175. April, 165. May, 150. In your mind, you're like, oh my God, I'm losing money, right? I'm losing so much money. I bought it for 250. I'm down 50,000. This will make people freak out and sell, right? Because they think that their money just keeps going down lower and lower and lower. So they're going to freak out because they're trying to prevent them losing all their money. So they make a deal with him, right? This is where everybody goes wrong. So they make a deal with him at 150 in May. Now they don't own the house, right? They just lost 50,000. They don't own the house. So then what happens is in June, he comes around. He says, yo, this house is worth 165. Now it's worth 172. Now it's worth 189. Now it's worth 204, right? But realize you don't even own this house anymore. So the dude who bought it from you for 150 and now in September it's worth 204, he's up. So you sold it because you thought it was going to keep dropping, right? So you sold it for 150. The dude bought it from you for 150. Mr. Market came in September, told him it's worth 204. So he's up 54,000 on something that you just lost 50,000 on, right? But you thought it was worth 300,000. All right. So Mr. Market. So let's go back. Imagine you never make this deal. So he tells you 150. You're like, whatever, 165, 172, 189, 204, 185, 204. Every month he's coming to your house telling you what it's worth. The next year, it's worth 230, then 250, then 245, then 300. Now it's worth what you thought it was worth, right? So now you can make a deal with him if you want and sell it. And now you can realize $100,000 in gains, right? But if you would have sold it here to this guy, let's say John bought it from you at 150. Now John just made 150K and you lost 50K. So two people just had two drastically different results on the same asset. You lost 50 when you made a deal with Mr. Market in May, and the dude bought it from you, held it from May to April, and he made 150. He doubled his money, right? So you lost 25% of your money and he doubled his money off the same exact asset. So think about stocks like this as well, right? You only make a deal. You only lose when you make a deal, right? Or you only win when you make a deal. So check this out. Let's say there's a stock called New. The price today is $100. This is what Mr. Market is saying. Every single day in the stock market, Mr. Market comes and tells you what the price is worth. Even throughout the day, it goes up and down. The 52-week range, the 1 year range on this stock is $75 to $120. They pay an annual dividend of $5. So for every one share you own, they're going to give you $5 a year as a reward. So this stock New, it fluctuates throughout the year, right? So today is at 100, but let's say it just goes throughout the year, up and down, up and down, up and down. In April, it hits the lowest point. In August, it hits the highest point. So let's say two different people buy the same stock at different prices. Look what happens. Mike buys 50 shares of New at $100 per share. So he spent $5,000. His 50 shares will pay him $5 per year. That's their dividend, right? $5 per year. So he's going to sit back and collect $250 per year, right? He bought it at $100 per share. Now, Chris buys 66 shares, worth the new for $75 a share. So Chris bought it here at the low point. He spent $4,950. His 66 shares will pay him 66 times 5, which is their annual dividend, right? Equals $330 per year. So two people bought the same exact stock, but they bought it at different prices. Therefore, on any random day, depending on what Mr. Market says, they have drastically different results. For example, let's say it's a random day. Mr. Market says that this stock is worth $80 today. That means Mike is minus $20 per share because remember, he bought 100 shares times 50 shares, right? So when Mike logs into his account, he's going to see that he's minus 1,000 in this position, right? But he doesn't lose. That doesn't mean he lost $1,000 unless he sells. Because on the next random day, when Mr. Market says it's worth $120, he'll be up, right? So unless he makes a deal, then the value is down $1,000, but he didn't lose $1,000, right? You have to know the difference. All right. And on this random day, Chris bought at Chris's plus 5 because he bought it at 75 times 66. So Chris is up when he logs in. So when Chris logs into his account, he's up $5 per share because remember, he bought a 75 and Mr. Market saying it's worth 80 today, right? He's up $5 per share times 66 shares, right? So on the same day, right, on any given day, two people can have two drastically different results in a stock depending on when they bought it, right? But you don't actually lose this money unless you make a deal. So your account can say minus $50,000. It doesn't mean anything unless you sell, all right? But let's say there's a random dude, maybe it's their cousin Tim. He bought it way back in the day for $30. So now Mr. Market says it's up 80. So this dude has a way different result than both of them. So he's up $50 per share. He bought 100 shares. So he's up $5,000 for the day, right? So when you buy is important. But the main point of this whole thing is you don't actually lose that money or you don't make that money until you sell because Mr. Market is coming back tomorrow to give you a different price, right? And this plays out over and over and over again. So the main reason why my account says I'm down minus X amount is because a share that I own, SPG, is down from yesterday. So it's down to $95, right? It's down from yesterday, which draws the value of my account down, but I bought it in the 50s or the 60s. Therefore, I'm technically up. I'm just down for the day. You get what I'm saying? So you only lose if you make a deal with Mr. Market, right? So when it goes low, when the price starts to go down, your best bet is just to buy some more, average it down, right? To lower your average cost. Hope you guys get that. That was the lesson for the day. You only lose or make money when you make a deal with the market. Here's my cyber money deal, right? You could get stock market gems, which is an 1.5-hour video on the stock market. This is very good for beginners. Intro to options, an 1.5-hour video. Dividend income empire, hour video. Six-figure side hustle. Six-figure side hustle is about building physical product brands. For example, I own this watch company, right? Where to contact manufacturers, how to get your logo, how to get your website set up, the apps that you need for your website, how to get traffic to your store, packaging, all that good stuff that you need to build a product brand. Profit King is how to find profitable items to sell. That's a 45-minute video. BOB is how to grow your Instagram. That's a PDF. Twitter Money is a 1-hour video on how to sell digital courses and how to use Twitter to make money, right? So if you want to sell a book or a how-to or a course or a guide or whatever. So all these 7 for $40.